Hello, it's a lovely good evening and welcome to Camnet Television Main News. My name is Jeffrey Zambo to present, and our top stories in the news tonight. The opposition PF comes to the defense of the DPP amid calls for her resignation. PF LUNTE MP MUTOTWE KAFWAYA declared duly elected by the Constitutional Court. Government officials failed to turn up for a meeting with traditional leaders. And in international news, South Africa floods death toll rises with at least 60 killed. And in sports news, Manchester United on brink of appointing AJAX boss. Hello once again, another news in detail. The Patriotic Front has condemned the recent bullying and calls for the resignation of Director of Public Prosecution Lilian Siyunyi. PF Chairman for Information and Media Raphael Nakachinda says Ms. Siyunyi is one of the most qualified prosecutors the country currently has, hence it is unfortunate that she is attacked in such a manner. He says Ms. Siyunyi's decision to question why the Drug Enforcement Commission decided to rearrest Milingo Lungu without the permission of the DPP was in accordance with the law. Mr. Nakachinda says the office of the DPP should not be politicized and wondered why the women's movement in the country has remained quiet while their colleague is being disrespected. Meanwhile, UPND Lusaka Province Youth Chairperson Anderson Banda has given Ms. Siyunyi 24 hours in which to resign from her position.
The call to having the Director of Public Prosecutor Lilian Siyunyi resign from her position is getting louder as the United Party for National Development Youths in Lusaka have given Ms. Siyunyi 24 hours to step down from her position.
I'm sure many other voices have echoed the same sentiments that Amaya DPP Waja, she's not serving our interest, and the only thing to do for her is to resign on moral grounds.
The Patriotic Front PF, on the other hand, says it is disappointed at the conduct of those who are demanding for the resignation of Ms. Siyunyi, who acted in accordance with the law, and those who are demanding for a resignation because she was appointed to a position under the PF, thereby she is a PF cadre. PF Chairperson for Information and Media Raphael Nakachinda says Ms. Siyunyi is one of the most qualified prosecutors in the country and deserves to be respected. Mr. Nakachinda has wondered why women movement groups in the country are quietly watching their fellow woman being insulted and disrespected.
If Mr. Shonga, for example's argument is that the DEC has the powers to go against the decision of the DPP, meaning that when the DPP enters a NOLE, the law enforcement agencies have the power to rearrest. What kind of judicial system are we going to have? So the DPP will go to court and make a decision, and then the law enforcement agencies make another decision? Why do we go to court and when we reach there they tell us we cannot proceed on this matter? We are still waiting for instructions from the office of the DPP.
Mr. Nakachinda says the country should run away from politicizing everything that does not favor those in government. He has since challenged the government to deny allegations that it has entered a consent agreement with Mr. Milingo Lungu, whose content is not yet known.
There are consent agreements that have been entered in the name of the state versus Mr. Milingo. And we want to know the content of these Is it true? Now, people are trying to say, no, entering a NOLE is such an out of this world situation. Have we forgotten, colleagues, that the Republican president we have today is sitting on a NOLE himself? When the NOLE was entered, I must tell you, I was in government myself. I was part of Patriotic Front already by the privilege of having been nominated as a member of parliament. There were sentiments within ourselves as Patriotic Front accusing this same lady that she's UPND.
We will continue to monitor how the matter will unfold. Prudence Chota, reporting for Camnet TV News.
The Transparency International Zambia, TIZ, has advised the Director of Public Prosecutions, DPP, against going beyond her jurisdiction. TIZ Executive Director Maurice Nyambe explains that there is no provision in the Constitution or in any other piece of legislation where the office of the DPP is given powers to instruct law enforcement agencies such as the Drug Enforcement Commission on when to arrest or investigate suspects. Meanwhile, National Democratic Congress NDC Secretary General Joseph Kasonde has added a voice to the ongoing demand on the Director of Public Prosecutions, DPP, to resign on moral grounds. More in the following report.
This is a letter that the Director of Public Prosecutions wrote to the Drug Enforcement Commission over the rearresting of Milingolungo, the issue that has brought about public debate. Stakeholders have submitted their view on the matter, including the Law Association of Zambia, who recently wrote the DPP offside, noting that the DPP cannot stop investigations or the arrest of anyone, highlighting that the DPP's role is in prosecuting, adding to a popular demand of the DPP escapating herself in the eyes of the public. The National Democratic Congress, NDC, has charged the DPP leader Sioni to resign on moral ground. NDC Deputy Secretary General Joseph Kasonde says this in an exclusive interview with Camnet News.
The day there is unity in this country and he wants to be user-friendly, but unfortunately the colleagues want to abuse the process. So DPP's stance, I think we are not in support of that. On moral validation, she just has to resign. That will be the best she can do as of now. The money that Milingolungu is being accused of having accumulated is just too much for somebody to even say, no, why did you do this? In any case, she was supposed to have just gone secretly or confidentially. They speak about it. After all, when recommendations are being done by these investigative wings, there must be some collaboration in between. Now you never know. For her to come out like that, it leaves much to be desired. We really don't know. We don't know. But we're not in support. A point. The UPND alliance government, it's not there just to say, no, this is wrong. We say, yes, this is right, yes. Here is a situation which actually is not falling well. Not all the Zambians are saying what the DPP is saying is correct. And if you notice very well, those that might be saying, no, yes, the DEC were wrong to rearrest, it is not the actual people that mean well. Most of them, the Law Association of Zambia has put the spade very correctly.
In the same vein, the Transparency International Zambia, TIZ, has cautioned DPP against abrogating the constitutional principle by acting outside the parameters of what the law provides for the operations of the DPP.
Our view is that rather than calling for the DEC to exculpate themselves concerning the rearrest of Mr. Lungu, it is in fact the DPP herself who needs to exculpate herself, certainly in the eyes of the citizens of Zambia, by explaining the rationale behind the nolle prosequi that she entered in the Milingolungu case. You will realize that the DPP being a public office, regardless of the security of tenure as well as the discretionary powers that are vested in it, it needs to be seen to be always acting in the interest of the public and for the greater good of justice.
Some stakeholders are of the view that the DPP's action make the fight against corruption in the country even more harder. Alex Shimba, Camnet News in Lusaka.
The Civil Society Constitutional Agenda (CISCA) has condemned the growing trend of unconstitutional utterances by some senior officials from the ruling United Party for National Development (UPND). CISCA chairperson Judith Mulenga cites the recent statement by the UPND Copperbelt and Provincial Party chairperson Minister Elisha Matambo, who earlier claimed that the UPND will govern the country until Jesus comes. Ms. Mulenga says such utterances cannot be allowed to continue in a multi-party democracy. She explains the remarks are contrary to several provisions of the Constitution, including Article 5, Cap 2. She has since cautioned the UPND to refrain from creating tension and further challenged President Hakainde Hichilema to publicly censor his Copperbelt minister and provincial party chairperson.
Subsection 2, which states that, and I quote, power that is not conferred by or under this Constitution on any state organ, state institution, state officer, constitutional office holder, or other institution or person is reserved for the people. Political party cadres are not mandated to protect the Republican president. Therefore, CISCA cautions UPND to refrain from creating unnecessary tension in the country at the time that the people are struggling to come to terms with unexpected economic hardships that we Zambians find ourselves in, when we definitely expected the complete opposite. CISCA challenges President HH to publicly censure his Copperbelt minister and provincial chairperson, or else he, like his immediate predecessor, risks never knowing when his 2.8 million voters would have disengaged from him.
Traditional leaders in the country have expressed disappointment at the conduct of officials at the Ministry of Tourism who failed to honor an invitation to attend a dialogue meeting organized by the Zambia Community Management Resources Board Association in Lusaka. Association Chairperson Dr. Rogers Tembo says if government does not attend to the demands of traditional leaders, they will have to halt all gaming activities in the 19 hunting blocks in their chiefdoms because they are not benefiting. And Association President George Tembo has demanded that government addresses the traditional leaders on the way forward. More in this report.
Traditional leaders drawn from various parts of the country Wednesday convened in Lusaka at a two-day workshop organized by the Zambia Community Management Resources Board Association with the hope of being addressed by the Ministry of Tourism over matters of great importance that were agreed upon in 2021. Among the matters to be agreed was the issue of signing a hunting concession in the 19 hunting blocks where the agreements have expired, the signing and finalizing of statutory instrument that would stipulate how government and communities in which gaming activities take place are supposed to share resources, among other things. However, government representatives from the Ministry of Tourism failed to show up at the meeting, a situation that angered the traditional leaders and members of the association who traveled miles hoping a dialogue can be reached. Association Chairperson Dr. Rogers Lubilo then suggested that traditional leaders and association members visit the Ministry of Tourism so that they can be addressed, since the ministry representative did not want to show up at the meeting.
You understand the problem, why you have to fight for it. If there is no SI to say where hunting takes place, we are going to share hunting concessions, animal fees. If that SI is not there, you can't get that money. That's why from 2015, concession fees we are not getting because the SI is not there. So we want the SI, because the actual law, the principal law, says we should share hunting concession fees. But the government is saying no.
After some hours of deliberation with ministry officials, Association President George Tembo then addressed the gathering.
The new SI will provide other allocations which the communities were not getting benefit from. But unfortunately, we need to tell you that up to now, we haven't gotten the feedback of the government saying which one will be our way forward. Not even a roadmap, and neither has government communicated to the community as a co-manager or a partner to say this is what we're going to do going forward. I wish also to tell you that we've not been communicated to say which one will be the roadmap, the issues to do with hunting concession agreements. Now, our concern and appeal to government is that if hunting concession agreements are not signed in the 19 hunting block, we are talking about loss of employment in 19 chiefdoms. We are talking about no money going to those chiefdoms.
And efforts to get a comment from the Ministry of Tourism proved futile by broadcast time. Prudence Chota, reporting for Camnet TV News.
The Disability Rights Watch has lamented that the ongoing teacher recruitment may disadvantage persons with cross-cutting disabilities in the country if the right measures are not put in place. Organization National Coordinator Bruce Joma says fears that the 10% requirement for persons with disabilities may be abused by non-eligible persons. Mr. Joma points out that the population of teachers with disabilities will be absorbed in the ongoing recruitment of teachers because teachers with disabilities are not many. Mr. Joma says once the 10% is achieved, the process should be extended to those who teach children with special needs. He has since called for transparency, accountability, and scrutiny of the teachers who will be considered under the persons with disabilities. Meanwhile, Zampost is currently receiving and delivering applications in all districts from 5th April 2022 to the 15th of April 2022, and the names of successful candidates will be published on the 17th and 18th May 2022.
Announcement made by the Minister of Information and Media, who is also Chief Government spokesperson, that persons with disabilities are going to be given priority even in the recruitment of healthcare personnel that the government is undertaking, in addition to the 10% allocation for the teacher recruitment exercise. We feel that this is progressive in terms of creating a career path and opportunities for work for people with disabilities. We further wish to caution those who have made applications to government to be employed as teachers or medical or health personnel to ensure that they do not abuse this facility. Government has stated clearly that there's going to be transparency in the recruitment process. We are concerned, however, with some reports we are receiving that there are some individuals who do not have disabilities per se who are going ahead to put pressure on the Zambia Agency for People with Disabilities to issue them with disability certificates so that they can enhance their chances of being employed. This is not good because this facility is meant to benefit people with disabilities and not those without disabilities. So we want to caution those officers who might want to collude in this scheme to not do so, because if they do so and we have evidence, we might hand them over to law enforcement agencies for corruption, because this facility is meant to benefit persons with disabilities. We suspect that the percentage targeted for teacher recruitment might not actually be met if we stick only to teachers with disabilities. In the event that we don't meet that target, we would still advocate that government prioritizes teachers who have got a training in special education and inclusive education, so that children with disabilities who are going without much teacher support can be able to be supported in the schools.
The Constitutional Court has overturned the High Court's decision to nullify the election of former Transport and Communications Minister MUTOTWE KAFWAYA's parliamentary seat and declared him the duly elected Member of Parliament for LUNTE constituency in the 12th August 2021 elections. Constitutional Court Deputy President Justice Annie Sitali, who read the judgment on behalf of 4 other judges, ruled that Mr. KAFWAYA did not engage in electoral malpractice as established by High Court Judge Wilfred Muma. The court has also found that the 11 grounds of appeal filed by Mr. KAFWAYA have succeeded and have agreed with him that the lower court erred in law and fact when it nullified his election on allegations which were not proved to the High Court to the high degree of standard. More in this report.
It's all smiles at last for LUNTE constituency Member of Parliament MUTOTWE KAFWAYA after the Constitutional Court Wednesday morning reversed the Kasama High Court's decision to nullify his election.
This is a victory for justice. I won this election on the ballot and have won it in court now, bringing the matter to its final conclusion. It's just important now to go back to serve the people. I was restrained from thoroughly celebrating my victory because of this court process. But now, since the court has finally determined that I was duly elected, of which I'm grateful, I'll go back to the people of LUNTE now and we'll see how we can serve them. But I have to thank this lawyer here, this good lawyer, Honorable Tutu Angulube, and his team. This man stood with me every step of the way, and he ensured that we achieved this victory together.
In 2021, Mr. KAFWAYA appealed before the Constitutional Court against Judge Wilfred Muma's decision to nullify his election after he found that losing UPND candidate Jasia Katongo proved the electoral malpractices allegations, which were widespread and prevented the people from voting for a candidate of their choice. Not happy with this ruling, Mr. KAFWAYA then appealed on 11 grounds and argued that the trial judge erred in law and fact when he failed to warn himself against receiving evidence from partisan witnesses. Mr. KAFWAYA stated that the trial court also erred to nullify his election as LUNTE MP despite witnesses disputing with the testimony of Mr. Katongo. The lawmaker who had put up a spirited fight was however saved this morning from losing his seat, with a panel of 5 judges ruling that all his 11 grounds of appeal have succeeded. Judge Annie Sitali, who read the judgment on behalf of others, ruled that the trial court did not analyze the evidence on record from both the parties to come to the conclusion of nullifying the seat, and that its conclusion was based on presumption that Mr. KAFWAYA had committed the allegations. Meanwhile, the Constitutional Court is yet to deliver judgment for Mr. Bowman Nusambo, Kawishi constituency, and Joseph Malanji, Kwacha constituency, among others. Miriam Kaimba, reporting for Camnet TV News.
2 police officers have appeared before the Lusaka Magistrate Court for allegedly aggravated robbery involving over 1 million kwacha. The 2 officers, namely Francis Kayando and Newton Hamukamba, have been jointly charged with Derek Chansa, a general worker, Soft Wubala, a businessman, James Mutenga and Martin Mulako, both businessmen, with 5 counts of aggravated robbery. When the matter came before the court for the explanation of the charge, the accused were told to appear before the court on the 14th of April so as to allow 3 other accused to be brought in. More in this report.
They are being taken back to the cells. These, among them 2 police officers, have been accused of aggravated robbery involving over 1 million kwacha. Francis Kayando, a police officer, Newton Hamkamba, a police officer, Derek Chansa, a general worker, Soft Wubala, a businessman, James Mutenga, and Martin Muleka, a businessman, are facing 5 counts of aggravated robbery. Allegations before court in the first count alleges that in October 2021, the 8 whilst armed with AK-47 stole 1 pellet gun worth 1,000 kwacha, a safe worth $5,000 and $1,720 cash, the property of Tractor Zam Limited. It is also alleged that at the time the offense was committed, the accused used violence on the victim, Tito Mandela. In the other count, it is alleged that the accused, on the 8th of November 2021, whilst armed with a non-firearm, stole 40,000 kwacha, $300 cash, 50 Malawan, a shotgun cane arms 12 caliber valued at 15,000 kwacha, and 2 Samsung A10 cell phones, among other goods. They will appear before court on the 14th of April 2022 for explanation of the charge and possible committal. Meanwhile, 3 more accused persons are expected to be brought tomorrow and be added to the charge. Miriam Kaimba, reporting for Camnet TV News.
You're watching Camnet Television Main News. We'll take a break. We'll be back with more interesting news after the break.
Savenda. Save nations, develop Africa. Connecting African countries to each other and connecting the African continent to the world. This logistics and global supply chain management group offers end-to-end solutions across all sectors of the economy. Agriculture, energy, telecommunications, finance, construction, transportation, and insurance. And now, its initiatives are greener than ever, operating in line with government guidelines and working to provide energy security for Zambia and beyond. 25 companies united under one group and one vision. Savenda. Trade and logistics made easy.
Team, the trajectory of the business looks very positive, and it looks like we'll be able to launch the
Match data.
Mom?
Yes, baby?
It says here, global warming and climate change is caused by the pollution from careless activities of human beings.
Wow!
Son, do you know I can turn my phone into a TV remote?
How's that possible?
It's so easy. Check this out.
Be smart, be fast with mega data from Zamtel. Get your 15 GB mobile data for only 100 kwacha, 30 GB mobile data for only 200 kwacha, and your 70 GB LTE data bundle with free Netflix, YouTube, Facebook, and WhatsApp. Visit our Facebook page, website, or service centers countrywide for more information. Zamtel, your digital lifestyle partner.
Camnet TV is becoming big and better. You can now watch Camnet TV wherever you are around the world, simply by downloading the Camnet TV app. With Camnet TV app, you only use less bundles. Camnet TV, not just another channel.
Welcome back. We'll continue with our news. First Quantum Minerals, FQM, which operates Kansanshi and Sentinel mines in northwestern province, have been ranked the 6th largest copper producers in the world. First Quantum produced 816,000 tons of copper from its global operations in 2021 compared to the world's largest copper producer, Codelco of Chile, which produced 1.7 million tons during the same period. According to a statement released by Langmead and Becker to Camnet News in Lusaka, First Quantum Minerals was ranked 6th by mining commodities data provider Kitco. The ranking is viewed to underscore the mining giant's continued expansion of its operations in Zambia and globally, despite subdued growth in the mining sector and the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic. The 816,000 tons of copper production was the highest annual copper production in First Quantum's history. First Quantum Minerals country manager Kingsley Chinkoli attributed the continued increase in copper production and growth of the company to cordial stakeholder engagement and participation. He further said the mining company is optimistic of increasing copper production despite the sector facing uncertainty. More than 6,000 applicants in Eastern Province have been recorded under the 2022 teacher recruitment exercise currently taking place. According to the Teaching Service Commission, Eastern Province has an allocation of 3,881 teachers to be employed under this year's recruitment process. Zambia Postal Services Eastern Province Area Manager Tyson Lungu says the applicants are coming in large numbers to deposit their applications. More in this report.
The depositing of applications for the teacher recruitment by the applicants in Eastern Province has continued until the deadline this Friday. Zambia Postal Services Eastern Province Area Manager Tyson Lungu gives an overview of the application situation in the eastern region of the country.
Teacher recruitment process is going on smoothly, and so far we have captured about 6,020 applicants at the whole Eastern Postal area. And when the applicant comes, he fills in a form which we upload the information on the database of Teacher Service Commission so that they are aware of what is happening in the area.
The applicants from Chipata district are expecting the teacher recruitment process to be transparent and corruption-free.
I'm hoping that I'll be amongst the people that will be chosen this year because I've stayed for quite a long time in the society without being deployed. So I'm hoping and trusting there will be no corruption and there will be transparency.
I believe and trust everything goes smoothly without corruption, no nepotism. We are expecting a lot from the government whereby everything will go smoothly.
I strongly believe the New Dawn government has put up everything in place to make sure that each and every person who did teaching should apply freely and should definitely expect a zero corruption practices.
And Chipata District Commissioner Elda Banda is happy with a large turnout of the applicants.
It's really, really overwhelming, and there are a lot of teachers that haven't been deployed out there. So the 30,000, it might be a drop in the ocean, but I think we're moving in the right direction as the new Dawn government.
Sylvester Shimba for the news in Chipata District, Eastern Province.
Northwestern Provincial Agriculture Coordinator Muyobo Shimabale has called on the district and extension officers to provide appropriate advisory services to enable farmers adopt new farming technologies through implementation of expansion of community-based smallholder irrigation development projects. Mr. Shimabale was speaking when he officiated at the 2022 Kick-Off Training Workshop for Northwestern Province held at KAFWAYA Farm Institute in Solwezi. The project is being implemented by the Ministry of Agriculture with the support from the Japanese International Cooperation Agency, JICA. Camnet, more in this report.
Start with the market and end with the market is the concept being supported under market-oriented irrigation agriculture. The smallholder horticulture empowerment promotion approach, SHAPE, is proving to be effective in the implementation of expansion of community-based smallholder irrigation development project ECOBs. Minister of Agriculture staff from the district are here to acquire knowledge and later share with the farmers in the province. Dennis Mnachusa is Senior Marketing Development Officer under the Minister of Agriculture in Northwestern Province.
The SHAPE concept is the first step that we are taking in order to sensitize our camp and the district staff who are going to undertake these small-scale irrigation schemes. The SHAPE program is an approach that we are trying to promote. It is one of the approaches that we are using in order to spearhead the marketing of these agricultural products that the farmers are going to be growing, which will be grown under the ECOBS program.
Mr. Mnachusa also explained why participants conducted the market survey at Kawama, Kazomba, and Mitek Market as part of the training.
We want the farmers to have that insight of starting with the market and also end with the marketing before they start with their production systems.
Northwestern Provincial Agriculture Coordinator Muyobo Shimabale graced the kick-off training held at KAFWAYA Farm Institute in Solwezi.
Since the project commenced, of course, it has extended its footprint to close to 70 agricultural camps, and last year alone, close to 262 farmers were able to participate in simple weir construction. The onus is on us as extension workers to provide relevant advisory services and employ appropriate methodologies to enable this adoption by farmers of the technologies that we're introducing.
Tasuya Izumi is JICA ECOBS project team leader.
This project is development, irrigation development for mainly targeting the dry season, which means coming season, to boost up the farmers' income, especially community-based small farmers.
While in the area for other civic duties, Solwezi Mayor Remy Karepa took time to interact with the participants.
We are taking agriculture and other activities in the province very seriously. The new officers that are just joining civil service, we need to serve our country with passion, and when we see that civil servants are serving the country with passion, I think that also gives the politicians like ourselves a wake-up call to say, I think we also need to be doing our level best.
The ECOBS project is supported by Japanese International Cooperation Agency, JICA, in partnership with the Ministry of Agriculture. Kriva Chituta, reporting in Solwezi, Northwestern Province.
Join us after the break for international and sports news.
Your skin is the biggest muscle in your body. That's why we make sure that Oracle is #1 when it comes to taking care of your precious skin. Oracle Pure Petroleum Jelly and Glycerin soothes, moisturizes and keeps your skin perfect. Oracle Pure Petroleum products for that perfect skin.
We welcome you to the wonderful world of Savenda Electronics.
At Savenda Electronics, we pride ourselves in manufacturing high-quality electricity and water meters.
Boasting of the first of its kind state-of-the-art manufacturing plant in Zambia, Savenda Electronics manufactures customized smart electricity and water meters of international standards for both the local and international water and electricity utility companies. Our highly computerized factory, run by qualified staff, makes, calibrates, and electronically tests the smart meters to ensure only those meeting customer specifications are delivered to the market. Some of the main features which come with our meters includes notifications about low units, tempering, low battery, and many more customized features. Savenda Electronics provides on and off-site after-sales service and has favorable contract terms for water and electricity utility companies. Savenda Electronics, the real deal.
In international news, the death toll in South Africa continues to rise as the country is being hit by torrential rains and damaging flooding. According to local authorities, at least 60 people have now perished in the KwaZulu-Natal province in the southeast. More heavy rainfall was predicted on Tuesday night, adding possible additional chaos, and residents were asked to avoid all travel. Torrents have already cut off many roads, collapsed houses and bridges. Submerged cars and stockpiles of containers have even been seen floating, including the province's largest city, Durban. Here's a roundup of international news for more.
Days of heavy rain have caused havoc in the city of Durban, one of Africa's largest ports. Shipping containers have been carried away or strewn across submerged motorways.
Into split.
Commuters forced to abandon their vehicles and walk. Train services across KwaZulu-Natal province have been suspended to clear the rails after land and mudslides. Thousands of houses and informal homes have been damaged and families displaced. Jomba pulled his youngest child from the soil, pouring onto his home.
I got nowhere to go now. I got no house, I got no nothing. There's my family is there by my neighbors. We tried to give me the place to sleep last night. We never slept last night. The situation is very, very bad.
Mtunzi was asleep in his truck and says he made a narrow escape.
At 3
a.m. I felt the truck shaking and I thought maybe someone bumped it. And when I opened the curtain, I saw the water level was very high.
Here in Inanda in Durban, several people were killed in the floods. As the water rose, some people left the area seeking safety on higher ground. Now they've returned and trying to salvage whatever they can, but there's very little left, with most of the area covered in debris, blocking the entrances to their homes. With the motorways linking the port to commercial capital Johannesburg submerged underwater, global shipping firm Maersk has suspended its operations. The floodings damaged parts of the city that has just been rebuilt from riots last July.
We're cleaning up the road after the severe rain from last night, washing down the mud and the banks of people's houses. And since we've been trying to get people to come and sort it out, no one's come, so it's the residents who are now taking charge.
The South African Weather Service won't attribute the storms to climate change, but says this kind of rain may become the new normal in the years ahead.
Tea is a widely produced crop in Rwanda that generates a revenue of $93 million in the fiscal year 2020. The 5,000 smallholder farmers in Gicumbi district are members of cooperatives COPTE, COTEVEM and MTC. They also happen to be the new owners of the Mulindi factory and are one of the biggest suppliers of tea in the country. Talking to African News, the Mulindi farmers share how the handover of the factory from the Wood Foundation in Gatsby is expected to empower them as farmers. This comes after a great addition in regards to how the dividends are dispersed annually. This means after balancing the books of the factory, after reinvesting in our activities, the profit will be distributed among shareholders rather than the company. It essentially means that more money will go to the cooperative members and smallholder farmers. The foundations that handed over the factory to the farmers say that since 2012, a lot of support has been given to the farmers through finances, technology and management. The farmers say that there are still some challenges they hope to tackle in order to progress as factory owners. One of the main challenges we face is flooding because of the stormy water that comes from uphill and floods the tea plantations, which are located down in the marshlands. As a result, we lose swaths of tea due to flooding. Another challenge we face regards the aging of the tea plantations. The tea was planted in the 60s. At the time, they used to plant what we call stumps, but later on, we advanced to planting high-yield clones. However, the tea planted using stumps has really aged and the yields have declined. The farmers produce between 60 to 80 tons of green tea per day and 1,500 tons of green tea per month. Initially, the yearly turnover was 3 billion Rwandan francs, but the farmers are expecting to benefit an extra 1.5 billion Rwandan francs after the handover took place. Diana Iriza in Mulindi, Rwanda, for African News.
The Nigerian Navy on patrol in one of the world's most dangerous sea routes. The maritime boundary in the Gulf of Guinea stretches from Gabon to Liberia. Over the past 20 years, attacks in Nigeria's territorial waters have killed dozens of crew members and cost hundreds of millions of dollars in shipping losses. The attacks also caused a sharp increase in insurance premiums as cargo ships stayed away. The head of Nigeria's Navy says warships spent almost 7,000 more hours at sea last year compared to 2020.
This resulted in a significant decline in criminal activities in the nation's maritime domain.
The International Maritime Organization reported 47 fewer attacks last year compared to 81 in 2020. That led to Nigeria being removed from the list of nations most at risk.
Attacks on this part of the Atlantic were so frequent and daring that it's once known as Pirate Alley. Navy commanders say security is being improved with the deployment of more personnel and hardware to tackle the problem. But despite having increased military presence at sea, experts believe that piracy in the Gulf of Guinea remains a significant threat to the maritime industry.
That's a concern, both for seafarers and vessel owners.
Before, if you put your ship at 200 nautical miles, you're safe. But now, it is not the case. Okay, they have become very smart.
Nigeria reinforced its anti-piracy fight last year by buying new warships, helicopters, drones, and the Falcon Eye maritime surveillance system.
With the Falcon Eye, we have the capability to see far, even beyond the 200 nautical miles of our exclusive economic zone, and then we vector any vessel that is committing any maritime infraction.
Maritime experts and vessel owners say increased collaboration and joint patrols by neighboring countries in the Gulf of Guinea seems to be working well for now. But because most attacks are in Nigerian waters, the Nigerian government is being urged to do more to keep the seas safe from the pirate threat. Ahmed Idris, Al Jazeera, Lagos, Nigeria.
We now have sports news. And in sports news, Ajax boss Erik ten Hag is on the brink of being confirmed as Manchester United's new manager. United say no deal has been done, but sources in the Netherlands suggest an agreement is in place. BBC Sport reports that the Dutchman, 52, will replace Ralf Rangnick, who was appointed interim manager in November following Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's dismissal. Paris Saint-Germain's former Tottenham boss Mauricio Pochettino had been the other leading candidate. Official confirmation of Ten Hag's appointment is not expected before Ajax Dutch Cup final against PSV Eindhoven on Sunday. Ajax lead the Eredivisie by 4 points from PSV as they aim to win their third Dutch league title under Ten Hag. They lost to Portuguese side Benfica in the last 16 of the Champions League. To end the news, the top stories once again. The opposition PF comes to the defense of DPP amid calls for her resignation. PF LUNTE MP MUTOTWE KAFWAYA declared duly elected by the Constitutional Court. Government officials failed to turn up for a meeting with traditional leaders. And in international news, South Africa floods death toll rises with at least 60 killed. And in sports news, Manchester United on brink of appointing Ajax boss. We now look at the Camnet verse for the day, which is coming from John 13, verse 34. I give you a new command, love one another. Just as I have loved you, you must also love one another. Thank you for watching Camnet Television Main News. My name is Jeffrey Ziambo, and have a good night.